Alrighty, well, here we are back once again. It's ESL Challenger League season number 48, and, well, we've just watched a little bit of ANZ. Now we're back for Asia now, and we've got an interesting match ahead. QUBE and, obviously, the new look TYLOO, which we, to be honest, still haven't really seen in its complete iteration all that much, but something that we're going to be looking forward to over the next sort of 6 months or so. Although they didn't qualify for the RMI, then that means they're not going to be at the major. So, yeah, maybe we won't get to see too much of them. But either way, welcome back. What did you get up to in the little break there?
I just chilled out, really. I didn't really do all too much, I mean, to be honest. Kind of just stood up and had a little walk around. It's actually, for once, kind of nice weather in England. So I went out on my balcony, basically. But for the most part, not a lot, really. How about yourself?
Yeah, I had some dinner. A little bit of a snack in the break there, and so I'll probably be feeling a little bit sleepy for the next half an hour or so. But hopefully this game's going to wake me back up. And I don't know what we're going to get from this one, to be quite honest with you. Like, I think on paper, looking at that, I'd be saying TYLOO versus QUBE. Well, TYLOO every day of the week, easy 2-0. Not going to be a very, very competitive matchup. But what you were telling me about yesterday, TYLOO still, you know, showing some signs of shakiness, and that is what we have been sort of seeing a little bit from kind of everybody in this season of ESL Challenger League Asia, where you know, it does look like a very one-sided matchup on paper, but those favorite teams, it feels like they're kind of still working through a little bit.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yesterday, map number 1, they played Inferno against the Huns, and yeah, destroyed them, right? It was really, really clean. Very, very good to watch. And then map number 2, they played Mirage, and they just got walked over. It was a very, very weird game. TYLOO looked pretty much terrible, basically bar Jamyang. He was the only one who actually consistently, like, kind of kept his sort of ability, I think, across both maps. But really, really awkward showing from TYLOO. You know, map 1, fantastic. Map 2, terrible. And this is the kind of conversation I was on yesterday. And the same thing today was sort of saying about for TYLOO, you just never know which one you're going to get, right? Sometimes you get the TYLOO who are seen as like the second best team in Asia, basically. And then other times you get the TYLOO who barely are even top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a little bit frustrating, I think, for TYLOO, because this is now sort of the second season, really, where they haven't been able to play with their proper full core 5 roster. And it's kind of like, some of these guys must be thinking, like, why are we even playing this? And you understand why you're playing it is because you don't want to lose your spot in ESL Challenger League. There's a lot of implications with regard to that, and obviously making it to Pro League and this and that. But I think, you know, last season you're playing with like ZDR and Lyrics and Cami and all these guys while you're waiting for the whole G and Starry situation to get locked in. And then this season, Starry's still not able to compete in ESL Challenger. You got to be thinking like, man, like, we're playing so many officials without our core roster. It's been like the whole year, basically, for TYLOO, it feels like at this point, which is getting a little bit ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah.
But here's what we're going to have tonight, by the looks of things. Jamyang, Mosey, Mercury, G, and Zoking, Cami, whatever, pick your poison. Both of them, honestly, not bad. Like, they're not bad players. I don't think that they're coming into the server and sort of trolling or anything like that. Like, I think they're actually generally pretty effective, but you'd still want to be having your full roster, and it's unfortunate that TYLOO, you know, they missed the RMR. They're not playing with their core roster here in Challenge League. It's like, what are they playing in? You know, like, what is actually going on with this team at the moment? But regardless, probably enough about that. QUBE Esports as well. For those that don't know, they are a Mongolian roster. Generally, you've got some of the more sort of up-and-coming Mongolian players here. We've got Tugu and Rate, who have a little bit more experience, but Cloud and Paranormal and Solos will sort of be seeing them maybe a little bit more in the future. And, you know, not a bad shout necessarily, but certainly not one of those teams that we're expecting to really see, like, be super competitive in this season of ESL Challenge League. But,
yeah,
you know, in saying that, they're doing okay.
Exactly. They're not doing terrible in a sense, but yeah, I mean, yesterday, so it showed Zoking, we actually ended up getting Cami in the server. It might actually be the same heading into this, but we'll have to wait and see. But yesterday, honestly, map number 1, Cami was incredible. He was like 9-10-0 or whatever to start off that first map. Looked really clean all the way throughout, but then severely dropped off into towards map number 2. Couldn't, like, you know, couldn't hit you know, a barn door kind of thing. It was pretty rough. So I think again, that kind of just showcases, again, TYLOO to a degree. He isn't the one that we're really looking towards in terms of expectations. They aren't able to play with Starry, it seems like, at the moment. And I think the big issue is about for us is if we don't get this team playing, like you were talking about, officials with this full lineup, it's really hard to get a justification of kind of how good they actually are going to be as a team, probably heading into towards 2025, because that's primarily where they're looking, right, as a team. They're looking towards 2025. They're looking towards trying to become one of those top teams in Asia once again, and maybe even try and challenge sort of the legacy that the Mongols are starting to build up right now. But it's difficult because we've seen them basically play one tournament with this 4-5. I think we'll probably get like 1 or 2 more towards the end of the year. I'm not 100% sure they're doing Extremes Land, but I would assume they'd probably be one of the teams at least considered for that. And then,
well, it's 4 Chinese teams for Extremes Land this time around. So if they don't make it into Extremes Land as one of those 4, that would be wild.
Exactly. We have the groups as well. We can kind of see where things are in the grand scheme here and the standings. Of course, for TYLOO, they're not too bad. 15-3, 18 games played, pretty solid stuff. As you can tell, they've got quite a few games to catch up. We've got teams like Bromo play 28. QUBE on the side, again, not terrible. They're in that middle of the pack. After 24 games played, 11-13. It's really not terrible, but they need to make a little, they need to take a bit of a push if they want to try and get in towards that top half and get alongside the likes of, I guess GR Gaming, Huns, -72 degrees, and IHC, who all find themselves 14-8.
Yeah, it's one of the weird things when you're looking at this standings graphic, because teams have always got some games to catch up on. Some are playing, some are not. It was even more egregious last season when we had Mongols in and they were like overseas half the time. They'd had like basically 0 games played and others had like finished almost all of their games. But at least we don't have in this season a situation like we did last season where, for example, Rare Atom basically forfeited the whole season.
Yeah, true.
Which is why you don't see them in this season. And I think that is what TYLOO's a little bit cognizant of, is that, if we were to just sort of forfeit a bunch of games this season because we can't play with our full roster, then chances are we don't get to play next season. That was the case for Rare Atom, and it's even though it's like a completely different Rare Atom team, the organization is not allowed back until I think next season. And yeah, that sort of sucks for the Rare Atom lads, because I would have liked to have seen them here. I think they're a pretty competitive looking roster at the moment, and obviously having qualified to go through from the Asia into the Asia RMR from the Chinese region, it would be pretty cool to see them here as well, just to kind of get a barometer of where they're sitting. But not going to have that luxury, and so a bit of a training ground maybe for TYLOO as we look forward to the video now, and we talk about where we're going to be headed for our first map. It is Mirage, and you were telling me yesterday Mirage was a bit of a problem for TYLOO.
Yeah, they didn't look great. They really looked so uncomfortable. I think, honestly, in all fairness, on the flip side, a lot of credit has to be given towards the Huns. I think they actually played pretty well themselves. But yeah, I mean, a slightly questionable kind of choice here in the sense to let it kind of come through. I don't even mind TYLOO's Anubis as well. So for me, that's one that I sort of, slightly expected in a sense. But yeah, we don't get coming through here. I'm interested to see how that one will play out. It was just, for me, a really awkward display all in all. So we'll have to take a look and see. I'm probably expecting this, though, to be one of those where maybe I think they've probably kind of just said that was a bad day. Let's just go back into it. It was fine. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of what I saw yesterday. It was a 13-6 to the Huns. And yeah, man, I mean, it was just super comfortable. There's no two ways about it. Nobody really stepped up. Everybody looked very, very uncomfortable. Take a look at the scoreboard now as well, just to kind of refresh my mind. Jamyoung, G, both looked okay. Both finished negative, but Jamyoung was kind of at least pretty competitive and consistently. But on the other side, it was Bartak. He absolutely farmed. He looked really, really solid. 9 was hitting a nice couple of shots towards the tail end as well. And Cammy went like 9-17, Mosaic 11-13, Mercury 11-14. So they really struggled. So letting that Mirage float in, I do feel like is quite a bold.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be fair, yesterday's game against the Huns, I think that is one where I'd look at and say maybe that is going to be a little bit more difficult for TYLOO than a game against QUBE. But if we bring up our predictions here today, it should be no surprise that we're both going to go the way of TYLOO. I don't really think there's much of an argument to go towards QUBE. Yeah, the Mongolian region is strong at the moment, but let's be real, TYLOO, I mean, even despite a pretty disappointing run in the RMR qualifier, should still be considered one of the top teams in Asia.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, even though, and we kind of made these predictions before even doing, or seeing the veto, and even with that Mirage coming in, I still am definitely on the favorite TYLOO. I just think as a side, they have such a high ceiling. It's just about actually achieving that ceiling. And that's always the conversation with me. It's always the unfortunate side is that you do just never know what you're going to be getting out for the side. So, we'll have to see. For me, I do still like the TYLOO roster a lot, even if it is sort of Cammy playing in the server or joking or whatever, right? I still think the side have a lot to offer. Even just that dynamic duo of Jamyoung and G are actually really, really fun to watch at the moment. They play off each other very, very well, playing a lot of those high impact roles. But it's just getting this side of a bit of consistency, especially if they do want to make a playoff run, especially if they want to try and get a Pro League spot. They're going to need it.
Yeah. Look, I would say with the teams that are actually in this season of Challenger League, I mean, Lin Vision and TYLOO might be the two in that discussion to take the spot. Obviously, Atox is probably worth a shout as well, with Lin Vision being a bit up and down. But this is one of the better opportunities you've actually had to make it through, because no Rare Atom, no Mongols, so missing two of the big name teams that are likely to be challenging for those spots. Talking players to watch as well in this one, we've sort of already touched on him a little bit, and so Jamyoung again. I feel like almost every single time we've watched TYLOO play, we're picking Jamyoung as the player to watch, and there's obviously a reason for that. He was sort of like the second coming of Jesus for Chinese Counter-Strike. At least that was what we were supposed to get from him, and I don't know, has he really lived up to that? Maybe not in the same sense that we would have hoped, but again, it sort of feels like he is one of the hopes of the region, and unfortunately for the moment, the Chinese region's kind of struggling a little bit. But he very easily could have, or maybe should have, based on how he was hyped up, been sort of spoken about in the same capacity as maybe like a Blitz or a Techno is from Mongols. And I just don't think TYLOO as a team, as a roster, have had that success that has really facilitated that. But at least individually, he is generally one of the better players coming out of China at the moment.
Yes, no, exactly. I think as well, the big reason for me why I always want to look at Jamyoung is because, recently things have changed for him individually in terms of his role. He's obviously now calling, right? And I think it's a big step. And the big thing that I've seen, I've casted this TYLOO side quite a few times since they've had Jamyoung pick up the IGL mantle. And the thing that I do worry about is if Jamyoung's firepower starts to take a real hit, and it at times has taken a hit, and some of the tournaments they've been playing, he's looked a little bit weaker than obviously what we'd usually expect out from Jamyoung. And the big thing for me is just making sure that he stays consistent in terms of his numbers. If he can call and frag well, that is the recipe for success coming out through the Asian scene, right? And that's where this side like TYLOO can become such a fearsome team. Is it going to be the level of Mongols? Probably not, right? If being completely honest, or at least at the moment, it doesn't even look kind of close to it, especially when you've got IGLs like Blitz, who are mechanically also so damn gifted as well, right? But the big thing for me is just getting Jamyoung to be in that point where he is still a contention in terms of firepower. Yesterday he played great, so today I'm hoping for more of the same and potentially get something going. We are just waiting though to get underway and towards this game. It seems like I'm having a little bit of issue getting the players in the server, so now we are going to throw this one to a little bit of a break, so sit tight and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Time for map 1 between TYLOO and the QUBE. TYLOO starting things off here on the CT side of Mirage. And quite frankly, I think the biggest thing that I'm wondering tonight is, are they going to play a little better here for today's game than they did yesterday?
Yeah, that is definitely the big question. I think just because of how rough things were yesterday, they've got to find ways to change things up, surely. Well, we'll have to see.
That's a Starry. Starry's on the server tonight.
That is, so... I was just thinking, is that correct? But it must be. Didn't play yesterday, and he didn't play the last game I cast at TYLOO as well. So interesting to see him in. We finally get to see what the side actually can bring to the table as a full lineup.
I think, is there a thing at the halfway point of the season or something like that where you can make a roster swaps? Maybe that is what I'm thinking about. But either way, good news for TYLOO that they do have their full core 5 in tonight, and hopefully that is the case for the future going forward as well. It started pretty nicely in the pistol here. 2 picks already. Paranormal and Anselmo struggling a little bit there for the QUBE, and things have really slowed down. Jamyang in with a nice one. He's our player to watch, and might actually pivot for another one here as well if he takes that fight into Connector. There's one more for him, and Mercury will finish off the last one. So, very solid and stable pistol round win for TYLOO, has to be said. Yeah, all right. That's what they need. Good to see as well. With the full lineup in, this does now spice things up quite a lot in this game. That's for sure. I'm interested to see now how kind of QUBE can react to this. They've not got an easy kind of matchup against them. This is a side who are very, very difficult to break down. TYLOO, obviously, they have their ups and downs, but just if you fall back on kind of just like raw firepower, you'd expect a lot of things out from them. So, it's not going to be easy, that's for sure. The first start for them, of course, means money to work with too. Jamyang's been tagged down pretty substantially. But no real investment from the QUBE, so TYLOO shouldn't be too worried about things at the moment. Just try and keep Jamyang somewhere pretty safe, that he doesn't really have to have much of an involvement in the rest of this round if possible. Try to hide him. I've actually boosted him onto the B site box, which is not a bad shout actually. Most of the job will have to be done here by Starry if the push comes into B, but as long as he can pop 1 or 2 heads, Jamyang should be good for at least 1 freebie from that position. Meanwhile though, looks like the push will come through to mid, which will be even more favorable, you'd think, for TYLOO, although G's got his knife out, and QUBE do manage to make the run boost work in towards middle. He'll be calling that information over toward Mercury. There'll be the swing from both at the same time. Solo's taking the head off of G. But, that is not going to be the end of it, is it? It's Mercury to drop as well, and Jamyang being low. QUBE are getting a lot of work done with these blocks.
Okay, like in the end, honestly, 2 casualties? I don't think it's actually that bad. I mean, you don't really expect anything from QUBE in that sort of round, so no. The fact that you are walking away with, you know, a couple of kills, it's really not too shabby, if we're being completely honest. But the big thing is, can we see, though, on the other side, this QUBE side now, they got a full buyout. Can they start to find a little bit of form? We really do need to see them, at least in the early gun rounds, at least kind of one of the first 2, take one and take it comfortably, just to give them the confidence to say, like, you know, we can mechanically keep up with TYLOO here. Yeah, hopefully. See if it can pay off here. First gun round from QUBE is going to be a fast one into the A side. Going to get smokes, mollies into jungle, opening pick onto Mercury as well as G. And Mosey just gets run down as well. This is a bit of a mess, really, from TYLOO. Just not at all prepared for the push from QUBE, who got themselves another one. That's a complete role reversal after what we've seen from those first 2 rounds. All right, dipping away. Like I said, I want to see QUBE coming towards one of their first 2 gun rounds and make it clean. They've done exactly that. Starry's not surviving it. No chance. Down he goes. And a great catch there. I don't know what the end. So, double kill for him. And yeah, QUBE, a flawless round to start things off is really not too shabby at all. TYLOO kind of very abruptly put on a bit of a back foot there. That's not a nice way to kind of lose that first gun round in kind of both senses, that you just get completely obliterated. It's not going to fill them with a lot of confidence. So, smoke into window and connector would indicate that QUBE want to get something done here in mid, though
not actually that much presence there. Pop Flash has gone over the top. It's going to set Solos up for a little bit of a look in, but Mercury is wise to those tricks, and he'll duck inside of the T-Smoke to get back into safety in Connector. Overall, much better start to this round for TYLOO, and QUBE now have to come up with some answers.
All right. One down. I mean, where do we want to finish here? Bomb Collector looks like we're going to go group up towards there. Say group up, though. There's still two in the direction of B. We got one deep in towards apartments and one in via mid. I mean, Paranormal's going to be smoked out here. We're going on in front of it. We are, and this actually could work. He's kind of perfectly timed this where I don't know if they're 100% going to expect it. Jamyoung does clear, thankfully. Mosea, his Deagle rattles off for one as well as TYLOO will get caught.
One kill at least has been secured for QUBE, but it's not going to be enough, definitely, especially with the bomb dropped in A main. Panic stations for QUBE, really, at this point. They need to get something done in the round to at least, you know, show something, show some presence. Maybe take a gun or two away from TYLOO, put some economic woes on their side of the table. There's one from Anselmo. Rate is up to some interesting things. I mean, like, he's struggling to get that bomb back. In the meanwhile, Anselmo's actually getting some real work done. Jamyoung's going to try and take this fight on his own. Good raw adjustment. That nearly went wrong for him. Rate, at least, is able to get the bomb plant down. And honestly, you know, they've sort of salvaged that round there, QUBE. Like, it was horrible, really, but they've at least got something out of it. They've taken 3 guns away. They've got the bomb plant down in what was a round that could have just gotten nothing done.
Yes, it's true. I mean, it is like a bit of a silver lining there, and it will actually give them the ability to buy in towards the next. So you're going to take that sort of every day of the week. AK's out, so it's not the end of the world. And, you know, you still see the MP9 being ordered by Jamyoung, for example. So still chances for QUBE to answer back in their own regard. TYLOO keeping just a bit of breathing room between themselves and Seaside, but do need to break this economy if they want to really take a strong grasp of the lead. Selmo does actually avoid the flash, but doesn't want to stick around to see what's behind it.
Once again, mid-control for the QUBE. It's going to be the name of the game. Another set of smokes out from them. So they've just got the one remaining smoke after this. But what that is going to at least allow is a bit of connector control so they can creep their way up short here. Clear out ladder room. Struggling to clear out the B site, though. Kasari's just banged ahead for Paranormal. Another good start to the round for TYLOO. And it will continue in such fashion until Anselmo starts to get involved. This guy is just fragging out at the moment. 6 and 3. Tuku's in there for 1 as well, and it's down to Mosey. So, decent start for TYLOO, but they just seem to let it slip a little bit in those more chaotic situations.
Yeah, took the foot off the gas when they probably wanted to actually get a little bit more aggressive there. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Mosea, we'll just be keeping hold of this M4A1S. Tough round, though, and a really good one for the QUBE to be taken, because, again, it just keeps them piling the pressure on this TYLOO side. We said they had a bit of breathing room. They won't anymore. Only Mosea staying alive, even that might potentially not happen at this end here. It means that they won't really buy in towards the next, because they don't have the money to do so. So a wild one in that sense, and the other side too, where for TYLOO they're under a bit of pressure. But, you know, I say not buying here, but then 1.6 for Mercury, I think we probably just still don't buy, maybe. But, you know, I've seen wilder buys before. Yeah, we actually are going to go for the 4 set. Mosea at 1.4k, Mercury at 1.6. It's, I guess in Mosea's case, double eco and close enough for Mercury. They're just going to go for that full investment. This is not going to be an easy buy to try and kind of make work in your favor. It's going to be awkward.
Yep. But that is the TYLOO way. They never seem to make life easy for themselves. I guess that's the biggest takeaway from me in a lot of these ECL Asia matches. And it's not just something that's unique to TYLOO, honestly. playing through mid this time from QUBE. Jam Young's going to drop. Deagle not having much of an impact, but Mercury maybe will, or maybe won't. So just down to Starry to try to hold on to B, and he's also going to lose his life. QUBE are looking sharp tonight. I will give them that.
Yeah, true. Very true. We want to try and keep hold of this M4 once again if you can. Might potentially be a bit of a big arse though, but he's going to fight and he's going to lose his head with it. Now I'm going to say G is all that's left. A scout is all to do, and well, already tagged, probably in trouble. Nice shot, actually. For a second, gets a body shot, but Asugu survives and sees him off, limping a little bit. Either way, 3-all the QUBE, keeping this very close indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good performance, I would have to say, from QUBE so far. If you can go toe-to-toe with TYLOO, I'll call that a win. And look,
yeah,
I'd say it's probably a pretty embattled TYLOO at the moment. You know, we've definitely not seen them reach the level that we would have liked to have with the changes that they've made. I mean, this looks like a Chinese super team, really, but didn't amount to much in the Asia qualifier, so there's some concerns. But still some quality players, and they're kind of putting them to the sword at the moment. There's a 1-for-1, which will be good as far as TYLOO's concerned, but it's not going to be enough to win the round, at least not yet, unless Mosey can start to activate with this AK.
okay. An AK save would be nice, and oh, I was gonna say and two, but Jam Young gets his, gets caught. I mean, Mosey is sticking around 1v2. It's not impossible. It would require something like magical, like denying the bomb. There's still a minute to work if you'll dip back towards market 1 versus 1. And I mean, Paranormal is just waiting for the opportunity to come to him, but the onus is on him to get that bomb down and try and put the pressure on. And yeah, Mosea's going walkies here. It looks like he probably wants to try and wrap towards short.
It's a big round to win for TYLOO, right? To get the money right back on track. You'd be back in a round earlier, and all it takes is one good shot here from Mosey, and he's definitely the kind of player that can make that happen. Paranormal's going to drop himself a smoke, but in that meanwhile, I mean, Mosey's getting pretty busy on this rotation. So he's managed to make it over to market pretty quickly, and he's also spotted Paranormal out. Took a few tries to break open the window. He does have a molly in check here, but he's just going to go for the fight, and luckily for QUBE, Paranormal is going to win the 1v1, but it gets too close for comfort for sure.
Yeah, for a moment, it felt like it was going to be maybe on for Sunday class pressure. I mean, maybe if Jam Young stays alive there, that could have been a round on for sure, but not to be in the end. And lead taken for the QUBE, looking very decent indeed. And this is now a pretty interesting decision again that we have to look back on that choice to allow Mirage in. It wasn't great yesterday, and it doesn't look fantastic either at the moment.
Well, they're going to slow it down. In the meanwhile, TYLOO are looking to play a little bit more aggressively in mid. That hasn't worked out either. Mosey not going to be expecting a second player through from underpass, and a really nice contact play into mid from QUBE works out, because at the moment they're looking really sharp. They're hitting their shots. They're playing well off of each other, and that's what they're leaning into, and that's what's working.
Okay. Jam Young making a bit of a move as well. If he gets timing well, I was going to say should catch this com player, but the timing works against him. As he drops down, for a normal, yeah, that's a freebie. That was gifted on a platter to him. G, last man, they're just going to go B. I realize sooner rather than later, it's the AWP over towards CT, a super standard setup, and another freebie around. The QUBE look great. They're really playing decent Counter-Strike at the moment, and they're really not taking that many casualties bar that previous round when they are winning. So it's really impressive to see.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned that we're going to get another night like last night for TYLOO, where, you know, what's going on Mirage, right? Like, why is it such a problem for them? Why can't they figure it out?
Tough predicament. That's for sure. Not a nice spot. G. Shot on a second. He's staying alive. He's bouncing between the two angles, and he... Oh no, the nade. Surely not the nade. Oh my god, it does a bit of a chunk of damage, but thankfully won't be the case. Alright, sigh of relief, but the QUBE, even still, yes, he survives with the ore, but for the most part, they're not caring too much. They are building up a really nice little foundation here in this first half. And I think as well on the other side, they're starting to showcase that they can go toe-to-toe with TYLOO, which is very impressive in its own right.
G is going to be the key for TYLOO in this round. And he's going in the right direction. Having a bit of a look. I don't know if he spotted out ahead there. Flash over the top of mid. That's not going to be fooling anybody at the moment. TYLOO are keeping their forces well set up on A, but this really requires G to hit his shots. First one has to connect, and it does. Can he get any more than that, though? Molotov sinking his feet will mean he can't straighten left, but that doesn't matter. He's got one more in the chamber for solos. Mercury, as of yet, has not been found underneath the balcony. He's surviving on one, but that nade will finish the job. The QUBE doing their due diligence. Get themselves another round at 6-3.
It's good. Very good from the QUBE. Nobody really kind of stepping up in a massive way here. It has to be said for this TYLOO roster. I mean, even one of their main men, to be fair, it's Starry 4-7. He's looking a little worse for wear. It's a tough time. TYLOO, this is what should be seen as an absolutely unlosable game, but at the moment feels very much like they're on a bit of a knife's edge. 6-3, the QUBE have guaranteed bare minimum a tied game, and the way they're playing, honestly, you'd probably expect them to get 7, maybe even 8.
Yeah, I think they're definitely on for 8 at the moment, the way things are looking. Jamyoung is going to be tested on the B side for the first time. It really feels like in quite a while. G has been looking okay with that orb, and he's definitely having his impact. Jamyoung, not so much. Solos gets another one on the infantry, maybe a little too eager for another shot though, and overextends now. TYLOO can't get it done. It is 6-4. TYLOO at least get themselves one more round, but the half's still yet to be salvaged.
Yeah, at the moment as well, for TYLOO, I probably want to see them get sort of bare minimum 6-all, and then maybe it's potentially a little bit workable. I feel like anything less than that, they're probably under a lot of pressure. So I'm not going to completely count them out yet, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's super comfortable in terms of the showing we're seeing from them. TYLOO, he's posted over towards Delpan as he looks towards short, and this can give the QUBE a little bit of control in towards mid now. He can open that smoke. They were just scared that somebody was playing behind it towards bench.
Yeah, back to the tried and true though for QUBE. Straight back into mid. Gonna see what kind of map control they can get there, but not really looking for connector control just yet, which has been kind of a go-to for them. Dropping the smoke and the molly into connector and forcing TYLOO away from that. Here it comes. Topicon smoke, window smoke. You'd expect a molly to follow this. There it is from the QUBE. So, you know, very similar approach there, mid-take. From there, I think TYLOO's starting to read it a little bit. That when they do see that util set, that they're liking to go B. And it's been read into a little bit by TYLOO. 2 kills easily. Taking a little while to adapt to that, but now TYLOO are kind of cottoning onto it.
Nade. Could do a decent amount, it will. We'll take a fair serious tag. The Molotov comes down at force. I was going to say force Jamyang away, but it doesn't actually spread in the way that it does. And Mercury hoping they're out of range with this AK-47. Things can work for them. With dipping away. I mean, the QUBE, what is the play? It looks like we might just be sort of calling around and just keeping out of what we've got. They're not going to give it a go. Bomb's not committing, so that is it. TYLOO going to take themselves a 5th. And Jamyang got the right idea. He doesn't check ladder, so he will fall. It's not the worst thing in the world, though.
I mean, 6-6. Definitely possible now for TYLOO, and they're kind of clawing their way through this half, but they do have something to show for it for sure. And with QUBE being down to substandard fight, you definitely favour TYLOO in this round. I mean, just really looking pretty good with the AWP as well, and it's a little bit of a shame that it's taken as long as it did to actually get going. Once it did, positive signs for TYLOO. Maybe he can bring that on the T side as well.
Go. Tag. G will fall. Now, maybe a bit of a kind of room to work with here. He can pick themselves up a gun, that'll be huge for Starry. Nice angle works for him. Gets one, slips away. Should be another here, but Mercury just caught a bit flabbergasted by it. Messiah, look for a second. He knows that player's over towards stairs. He doesn't support to isolate it. The spray is labored. Somehow he's still alive.
Smoke's going to go down. It'll give him a little bit more room to work with. And over the top of it, he's going to find Jamyang. Quick trade in from Mosey. He's going to leave QUBE with their 2 pistoling players against the couple of rifles that TYLOO are holding on to. I don't know if any guns are really retrievable here for QUBE, but Paranormal. Oh, what is that? He's found a cheeky headshot onto Mosey, and now Starry's got no idea where to go. Bomb was on its way away from A. Now with that pick, it's actually coming back. Starry's got a lot of utility. Might be able to do something about the plant if it ends up happening on A. A molly and a nade could sort of put it into a 1v1 if he gets that timing right. Or he's going to take the fight. He spotted one out, and the double swing will come through. Somehow QUBE win that round. I have no idea. 7-5, though, is the first half score.
Alrighty, welcome back. Second half about to get underway. The QUBE lead 7-5. Slightly surprising, but then not if you were watching. TYLOO just not really playing to the level that we expect that from them. They, especially to start off, they looked all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been a bit wishy-washy, really, from TYLOO, hasn't it? But what can you say? It's not really surprising at this point anymore. TYLOO's not been in the greatest of shapes for, geez, probably 12 months now, really. We were hoping that this roster was going to be the fix to that, the Band-Aid solution, maybe not even the Band-Aid solution, actually, the surgery that would finally get rid of the problem, right? Kaze and Advent gone, and you know, you bring in Starry and G, and you think, great, this is what we needed, but is it? Was it? Really? I don't know. We're not necessarily seeing the TYLOO that we wanted, and maybe a little better here in the second half pistol than it started, but even still, the QUBE is very much in the race to win this round. TYLOO with an insane shot onto Mosey. Paranormal is charging around in CT spawn. He spotted out Jamyoung, and TYLOO gets G. And, you know, as is the case in the first half, a lot of these rounds that look like they're going to go the way of TYLOO, in fact, do not. And then we see another one for QUBE as we go to 8-5 off the back of this pistol, and definitely staring down the barrel of another map defeat on Mirage.
Yes, exactly. And it would definitely once again make us question, why are we letting this flow? I mean, weird situation in itself, but TYLOO still feel all over the shop. At 8-5, of course, with a bomb plant, does mean we do get some level of a buyout here. So we got upgraded pistols for the most part. We got an AK-47, and G will have just a deagle for him. So a lot of the onus here is on Jamyoung to get very active. He hasn't been terrible so far, but he's really got to do something quite special. First fight, Sugu tags him up a little bit.
Jamyoung standing at the top mid boxes. Really being contested for mid control. QUBE up to some other tricks. They're actually pushing their way through T-spawn, and it looks like they've got their timing absolutely perfect. G just spotting that line, and now going back for the second look, and it's way too late. QUBE just found the perfect timing to thread the needle, although Anselmo around the corner is going to lose his life to Jamyoung, and so too will Rate. So it's kind of come unstuck a little bit there. A bit of over-aggression maybe even from QUBE. Could have just taken that pick and backed off and played the 4v5 out, but instead kept going. And Jamyoung, our player to watch. Maybe keeps it alive for TYLOO.
Can he get one or two here? None is what he walks away with. I was surely expecting a couple. It's a nice look from a good spot, though. There's one. Just a second behind it. Holding that mouse when he's dancing between that front pillar, but it's not good enough. That shot from QUBE. They can't make it work. How have TYLOO walked away with that round? How? The issue is as well, for the QUBE, that was a big investment for them. They went in with the orb, a hefty one, and it doesn't pay off. And well, now, of course, their funds are sort of all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, with a bit of luck, I think would be the answer there to the question. Don't get away by the skin of their teeth. That MP9 on the B side, wildly spraying all over the place. Just didn't quite manage to clip the last couple of members. 8-6 is still a competitive scoreline at the moment, especially with QUBE having some economic woes that have now forced them down to a pistol. Though, likely they've done more with less. Not going to count them out of this round.
Jamyoung, his step would have been heard there. 5-7 trying to close down the gap. Up close, this thing is deadly. In the right hands, he's dancing around. Oh my god, it's so scrappy. And Jamyoung, he was panicked. He was nervous there, and he loses it. I feel like he lost from the second he lost that confidence. You could see him backing away, and he wasn't wanting that fight.
Doing a bit of work though, QUBE. Starry might get spotted out here in Connector, though he'll get the head on to Paranormal. He'll also lose his. I mean, this is a very, very losable round for TYLOO. TYLOO is just chilling on the stairs. It looks like G's going to do a good job of isolating that angle, though, and does find his man. Raid's probably better off with Deagle here, but spamming through that that connector smoke's not really going to work out for him. And TYLOO look to have got this one wrapped up.
Yeah, a little scrappy. Had to work for it, but I think you're right. I think it will be seen over in just a second. Any more, though, would be nice. I mean, maybe give yourself a bit of a chance, but yeah, I doubt it's going to be the case. He's holding with a Deagle. The opportunity isn't being given up to him, so a simple one, all in all. Isaiah will look, he'll cross towards the tail end, and he will get his head ripped off his shoulders. So patience is a virtue, it feels, at the end there. But ultimately, all that TYLOO care about is actually just winning the round. Yes, they made to work for it. A little bit more expensive than they would have hoped, but I think ultimately what they're thinking about is a round, and we're actually closing the gap here.
Yeah, I think you got to take it one step at a time. And I would imagine that that's kind of the philosophy for TYLOO with not just this game, but like the ethos of the team in general, right? It started poorly, right? By not making their way to the Asia RMR.
Yeah.
That's going to sting, obviously. If they would have made it to the Asia RMR, then they're not necessarily guaranteed still for the major there, but that's kind of the goal, that this team is supposed to be the Chinese representative at the majors. That's what TYLOO is. But they're not, unfortunately, at the moment. And so, you know, just sort of rebuilding off of that unfortunate loss. And doing it here in the ESL Challenger League, trying to get some match practice now, finally, with Starry into the roster. But
yeah,
doing a particularly clean job of it so far. That's uncharacteristic from Jamyoung. He'll give up his AK. And TYLOO's got a kill. I mean, am I seeing it happen again before my eyes? Like another round that QUBE should not even be close to having any kind of an impact in. And you know, you freeze frame it and you're like, they could actually still lose this round. Solos!
Oh, no.
Oh, he almost gets Mosey, but TYLOO, I mean, he could be on for it. One or two good shots here with the Deagle. Bang, bang, off you go. There's one. Ruthless player on the high side as well. Mercury will win the duel, and it's like, why is it so hard for TYLOO right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing. It shouldn't be this difficult to be seeing these rounds over the line, but for some reason it is, and in a way that's concerning in its own regard. I mean, yes, TYLOO are winning the rounds, but not winning them in a comfortable state does still leave you with a lot of question marks above them. So yeah, I think ultimately, I mean, yeah, you know, for the QUBE, they've lost this lead and whatnot, but I think there still is positives that they can take away from these rounds, making them as close as they are with how sort of janky the buy is. Isn't terrible, but either way, still feel like I have to see something kind of change up for the QUBE, because they have lost this lead and things are getting very awkward now.
I don't know. Can't really say one way or the other which way this one's going to go. Smoke out into mid from QUBE, trying to sort of unsettle TYLOO, but TYLOO's still feeling pretty comfortable with the control that they've got here, and they're clearing out connector now as well. Look at the setup from QUBE though. They're very prepared to defend against this push through from connector. There's sort of three players that will be able to have an angle in onto connector in a moment. Flash goes through, but Anselmo continues to impress. Swings not yet through from Rate. He waits. And doesn't maybe wait long enough. He's going to go down. Still, you got Paranormal there on the A site inside of that smoke to try to buy a bit more time for the rotation to come across. He might be able to even deny the planet here. Instead, actually get some chip damage and a finish onto the Jamyoung as well. Plant went down. Mercury can still make some magic happen here, but he is on 16 HP.
Yeah. Doesn't have a lot to work with, does he? This surely feels like a one round. I mean, as long they know he has to be set up for connector, and they feel like they know he's low. They get off the bomb though. We're peeking. We're peeking. Why are we peeking, Mercury? Why aren't we defusing the bomb? They've just gifted him what ends up being ultimately a quad clutch. I mean, credit to Mercury. He's just got to do the job that's in front of him. But what are the QUBE doing? They have gifted them that round.
Yeah, and they might have gifted them control of this map as well with it. Obviously, QUBE are not going to be able to get a great buy through here with the money that they've gotten. TYLOO can kind of start to flex their muscles. You're getting the sense that they are feeling a bit more comfortable on this T side. The AK shots are hitting. Should go up 10-8 now. Give themselves a little bit of leeway. Just going to crank out a full AA execute by the looks of things. Lining up every piece of util under the sun, and it's tossed in pretty early on in the piece as well. TYLOO are not messing around here. Flashes go through as well. Anselmo some chip damage onto Mercury, but nothing to write home about just yet. And that's TYLOO getting into the site, though, losing Starry on their way through.
All right. Molotov in towards jungle could be huge here. Nade behind it. That CT smoke. Pissed them up a little bit. First few fights are all great. They come running through that smoke. And, oh, last man, I don't rate his chances in this one, as he'll get caught. A couple of kills, consolations. Not bad, but at this point, consolations aren't really something we're really even considering. It's about getting rounds on the board, and QUBE running out of chances. That goes without saying. Do not have many more left in this. I mean, TYLOO, while it's not exactly being the most comfortable of affairs, they are on track to seeing this over the line. I mean, the way things are playing out.
Yeah, getting it done slowly but surely. Well, slower approach this time around from TYLOO. They're going to know that QUBE will have another buy. Flash over from Mosey. Enable Mercury. Start clearing out middle. It's going to be a pretty easy job for him. There's not much going on there from QUBE.
All right. Smoke in towards window. This was a very tepid approach, actually, this round. Both sides giving a lot of respect to each other, which is nice to see in a sense because of how close some of them have been. TYLOO, you win this round. It feels like it's basically a guarantee that you win the map, and that's a good start. G, Starry combined. The new boys on the block make their presence known, and G will get traded. Jam Young steps up to the plate to find one of his own. We're planting in the open, though. What are we doing? What are we doing? CT is still a problem. Now not so much, and now we can plant for CT. They know the last play's over towards short. That was a little bit on edge for a moment, but thankfully it's okay.
All good in the hood. Paranormal, maybe not. Maybe he's not all good. He looks like he's struggling a little bit. 14 HP, and they've found him now as well. He's got a player flanking him. In the case of Mercury, if it wasn't going to be Starry or Jam Young, Mercury probably gets the job done there, and so that'll be the AWP taken away. No chance they get it in this round, and realistically, no chance there's going to be particularly impressive buy from QUBE. Best case scenario, it's a rifle, body armor, and maybe a piece of util for each player. But leaving a lot to be desired. Paranormal's going to have to go down to the MP9 to afford a couple pieces of extra util and that all-important defuse. But this is not it for QUBE. They buy in here, they lose this round. 3,400 loss bonus means they can't really buy next round. And yeah, it's pretty doomed if they lose this round.
It's true. It is true. You're under a lot of pressure. Nade gonna go deep. Oh, Paranormal takes a bit of a tag. Nade actually does basically nothing because Starry has already pushed so far forward. He's gonna try and make a bit of a move here. Oh, he gets tagged. He gets spammed. Nice little lineup there, Paranormal. He understood that Starry was gonna try and do something off the back of that.
What can Mosey do? He's made a couple of footsteps. I don't know if Anselmo has actually heard him. It doesn't seem as though he has, so he'll be able to strike. Brings it 4-on-3. Solos! He's caught out by G, and in the blink of an eye, we've gone from a 5-on-3 back to a 3-on-3. Tugu might lose his head as well. G too good around the smoke. And TYLOO will be grasping a victory from the jaws of defeat in that round, but the QUBE, it feels like for this map, they're grasping a defeat from the jaws of victory.
Okay. Right, surely not. Surely not. He's so low. 20 points of HP. And hoping a dream here. Time ticking. He's heard the step of one. Doesn't have a kit either, so we really do have to go. This crossfire should be enough, and thankfully it is. Jamyong peeks out from ramp, and easily done. TYLOO, map point, or I guess match point in a sense, for this Mirage. And, well, a 12-8 scoreline. Unfortunately, the Cube, they've just let this opportunity that they had, because of how well they were playing, they've just let it slip away.
Yeah, have to be a bit disappointed if you're QUBE. Definitely felt they had an opportunity. Right across it with both hands. Rate singed on his way down into the underpass. Luckily for him, no one close enough for TYLOO to hear those little sound cues, and so he's actually going to get the opening kill onto Mosey. Doesn't necessarily seem for us to be converted, especially with the return frag coming through. TYLOO have been good in the numbers disadvantages.
Okay. Mercury's low. Might even be used as a bit of cannon fodder here. The question is where we're trying to set up. Because the bomb rotates back over towards Spawn, but then they're dropping it back to each other. Let's make a decision, shall we? Jamyong, we're looking at you, mate. You're the one who kind of has to do it. It looks like we're going for the classic silver play of you guys fake A, I'll take the bomb B. I don't love it because there's two players over for the Cube ready to meet him at B.
What can Mercury do? If he can find a pick here, maybe that starts to draw a rotate or unsettles Cube somewhat. He's there with him. And timing on the push into B is looking fantastic from Jamyong. He's going to plant that bomb, and G's set himself up in sandwich, so he should surely catch one on the rotate. There it is. It's going to be Ansel mode that'll go down. Time of the essence now for the Cube. Jamyong plays aggressively for that opening kill. That's huge. That's big. It slows the Cube down, and it is now just down to solos, and TYLOO have Galaxy brained this round. The Cube have not been able to keep up. It's a 1v3. It's impossible, and it's 13-8 for TYLOO, who will take the map victory to start the night off for ESL Challenger League Asia. It was a bit of a roller coaster of a map, I think, that one, but ultimately we get the winner that we expected.
Yeah, no, it is true. I mean, this for me, at the end there, the Cube, you could, I think that sums up that second half for them, right? They just lost to what is actually just an silver strat right there of, you know, like fake A, I'll go B with bomb, and it basically never works when you play and it shouldn't really work here, but they just get so tunnel vision in towards that A hit. They don't expect any sort of a fake, and yeah, real credit has to be given over towards TYLOO. I mean, they dug deep. That first half was actually pretty woeful from them. They, 7-5 in favor of the Cube, but they did just look super uncomfortable all the way throughout. But they picked it up in towards that second half. On the T side, they controlled, as we always like to say, kind of the tempo of the game, but they just did play really, really well. So impressive stuff coming through from them at the end. I think the Cube fell off a real bit of a cliff, it has to be said, at that tail end. We do have our player to watch as well at the end of that, of course. We would highlight in Jamyong, and yeah, not a bad performance from him at all. The IGL looked stellar. 21 kills, 13 deaths, 1.62 KD, and 107 ADR. That's exactly what you want to see. To call and to play at that level, super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's got too big of a job really in this TYLOO roster, but it is results like that make you continue to speak about Jamyong in such a positive light. And
yeah,
you feel like you kind of don't want it necessarily to have to be the case, but it does feel like if TYLOO's going to win games, you do need this Jamyong. And so luckily he's turned up today for at least that map of Mirage. We'll have to obviously see how things go for map 2, whether or not he's going to get some more assistance from somebody else somewhere else in this TYLOO roster. I mean, G definitely had his moments there, I thought, on the AWP, but something to focus on as we head towards map 2. And overall, decent enough from TYLOO. I guess you can't complain. They get that map win under their belt. For QUBE, though, some work to be done, and we'll see if they can do that as we head towards map 2. First, though, it's time for a short break. So, right back into the swing of things. It's time for our second map between TYLOO and the QUBE. Last map, Mirage. TYLOO won it. It was, I guess, in the end, a reasonably clean win, but it kind of took the engine a little while to get going. You know, it was a cold morning. It was a cold, snowy morning in England, and the engine hasn't been turned on in 6 months, and it's a 1980s... What kind of car do you guys have there? Toyotas? You have like Toyotas over there?
Everything, really. I guess like probably like
Holden. You don't have Holdens, do you? That's Australian.
No, those. I guess
that's
like
an Aussie brand.
Ford and like Volkswagen are probably like some of the most like popular ones.
What's that one they have in Harry Potter? What's that one that Ron and Harry drive in Harry Potter?
Oh, is that like a Lancer? Maybe I don't even know. Harry.
No,
it's flying car.
When you say the name, I'm going to remember it.
Ford Anglia.
Anglia, that's it. Yeah.
I've actually never seen
it's
one
a
of those in real life,
1980s Ford Anglia from Harry Potter, but it's not magical and it doesn't start very well. Anyway, the engine did eventually kick over, basically, is the point of that analogy. We got there in the end for TYLOO, just like we did with the analogy. But Anubis is going to be our next map here. So, I don't know, is that going to prompt a bit of a more clean response from TYLOO? We would certainly hope so, because, I don't know, I just want this team to succeed, and I'm still not quite getting that vibe.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I really, like, I mean, yeah, you know, they won, and it was great, but it's just, we're not seeing them yet, at the very least, play to the level that we know they can play. And I think the thing for me is that we have to have quite high expectations of them just because of the name value, but they're not living up to them just yet. They're winning, but they should be winning more comfortable. But let's see, right? Anubis tees out the map. Let's see if it plays like that. Julie's for one. Oh, that was messy. I'm so lost there. And, well, that's actually very quickly the B side taken.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess that's one way of doing it. TYLOO throwing that gauntlet right in the face of QUBE, slapping him with it. And we'll see how the retake goes here for QUBE. Can they conjure a little bit of something out of nothing? Maybe not. Anselmo was quite a driving force behind QUBE's solid performance on map 1, and he's just been taken out like it's no man's business here in the pistol. Tugu into E-Box won't find much, nor will Rate. And that is TYLOO with about as convincing of a pistol in map 2 as what we had from them in map 1, actually.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Very, very cleanly taken. I think for the most part, all comes down to that popping towards E-Box. And yeah, it works well. Works well indeed. Question, though, is on the other side of, can we see the response coming through from the QUBE when they get guns out? I mean, obviously, we're not going to see too much of a buy here from them. It seems to just see the one sort of quote-unquote hero deagle collected in. And then, yeah, it's about what the response is going to be when they get the guns out. We do need to see something quite emphatic because that tail end of Mirage was rough.
Okay. Interesting buy from TYLOO, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, dualies for Starry to try to make the entry into middle. TYLOO are confident, if nothing else. They've team flashed Starry. Maybe the com's not quite on the point just yet. Still kind of getting it ticking over. There's a little double swing from the QUBE, but it doesn't really work out for them in the end. And it's clean as a whistle from TYLOO. Looking pretty good so far here on Anubis, but can only really take so much from first couple of rounds.
Yeah, exactly. But I do really want to see, though, this QUBE side come out the gates flying. For me, they're kind of a team who we did see them offer up a little bit, at the very least, in towards that first half Mirage in particular. But yeah, man, I mean, it really is one of those where TYLOO, they can continue this sort of level where they're playing aggressive and it's a little bit audacious in how they want to fight and are working apparently with Starry. Brilliant way to get a Ray just gets caught. There's nothing you can do.
And it slows down off of that opening pick. Jamyoung set himself up outside of B, while the rest of TYLOO go for a bit of an exploration into A long. See if they can force anything over there. In the meanwhile, though, Mercury has dropped in Canal to Paranormal. So that's a little bit of a spanner in the works. Yeah, I don't know, an ideal world, TYLOO just make their way into A and Jamyoung sort of picks one or two off on the rotate or maybe gets in behind on the flank. But that will not be an option anymore, and they've decided that we're going to try and hit the B site instead. Mosey goes walking into E-box on his own and gets taken down. So it's kind of fallen apart a little bit. It's a bit individualistic from TYLOO. You're really relying on every one of these players to like win their duels, and the moment that they don't, it's like, well, the round is now over. So not entirely convinced by that one from TYLOO, but at least Starry's been able to hit that shot and salvage things that allow that bomb plan to go down.
Yeah, that's true. G. Shot. But a good response from Tugu. In the flames finding that one on towards the AWP. It's all down to Starry. Starman 5-0 so far. 2 kills in the round. Looks to make it a third. He's now on 1 to T. And he stops firing. He stops firing. And with barely any HP, 4 points of HP, Tugu is pulled off a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on there for TYLOO, honestly. That round just looked like a shemozzle, didn't it? You had players walking all over the place on their own, hoping to win some duels. Didn't. And then even in the post plan, probably could have played that time round a little more so than he did. Very, very strange from TYLOO there. I mean, fair enough. The shots on the Starry... Sorry, the shots on the G were good.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily expecting someone to sort of push through that molly and take the fight there, but yeah, I just don't know what that was from TYLOO. I guess we'll see if we get something like that again. Right, back to square one, though. We run it back. Smoke into E-box.
Okay. Mercury eats a grenade there to start this one off. 53 points. Bye-bye. And already, not exactly the start you'd want, but at the same time, you see the amount of control they've got to work with here. It's just about, you know, G only on a P250. A lot of the onus has to come from the AKs. There's even a world to say that, you know, maybe Mercury and G sort of swap in a way.
Starry just on the edge of that molly. Oh, certainly was not expected by Ray. He danced the line, towed the line, and then pushes his way through the 2-man entry in toward middle. That might as well single-handedly win the round. Starry's on a warpath. He's got his third, trying to make amends for the last round. And that is much more like it. This might be an ace from Starry if he turns around into CT spawn. He's not going to. So Paranormal will inevitably probably end up dying to somebody else. Mosey might have heard him. Certainly has seen him now. And all of TYLOO swarming like ants headed in that direction. Starry, he's keen for it. He's going to flash himself down. And Paranormal will indeed drop to Starry for the ace. It was an unorthodox ace, but he gets it done. And yeah, I tell you what, that's one way of winning a round.
Yeah, honestly, fair play. I can respect him as well. You know, so confident in his own abilities right now, and he's playing exactly like that. A brilliant display from what we've seen in that. The way he got that final one as well. I can respect it a lot. Really well played. Still, more that needs to be done for my eyes just to really confirm this. But as to be honest, the QUBE don't look very competitive at the moment. Side who do feel quite uncomfortable with how this is being played out because of how aggressive TYLOO are, because it is working. Mercury, Starry kills a piece of Mercury. He wants more. And he'll get it as well with ease.
Yeah. Just the USPs remaining, and they're good enough for one, but that might be about it, unless Anselmo, no, didn't quite get the second headshot through that he needed to make that one look close. 4-1. TYLOO continuing on their merry way through Anubis so far. A little bit of a hiccup, but generally speaking, it's looked quite good.
Yeah, it has.
And he is down to 0 now for QUBE after this bye. If they lose this round, it's going to be another save.
I do want to see as well, maybe if there's a chance of getting the QUBE out. You know, I feel like for me, once again, it comes down to the same thing I said a little bit in towards that map one. It's the next 2 gun rounds. But I have to try and pay off here. The real issue is that for the QUBE, they're just being overwhelmed everywhere they're trying to take control of. There's too many people there to fight. Someone's got to go kind of Q chase yet to get a kill, and I think they're going to change. I say that. Guess what? Enough damage to basically confirm 2 with what he done on towards Mercury and Jamyong. One goes in towards the flames, the other goes in towards Ray, and that's actually a really, really good hold.
But yeah, Starry's going to get a freebie. 3 players holding on to the bomb on A, sure, but Starry's 13-1, so I'm not sure this round is quite wrapped up. Flash and a molly available for QUBE. The molly could be really nice if it's tossed in, but it's kind of an angle. Was a possibility for G if he anticipated it. Favorable duel for the AWP. Oh! Starry's got Anselmo through the flash. So 14-1 now. Let's see if we can pull something else off now. Tugu on the site. He's been spotted. Bro, what are you looking at? Someone had to be yelling in the TeamSpeak right there. He was just too focused on the crosshair.
Yeah, he was dialed in, but dialed wrong. It was like, for me, it was... yeah, that was all good. He actually probably could have got that kill on towards Cake without the pressure of having to watch over towards back plat, but unfortunate and sort of is what it is. A round taken for the QUBE that needed to be taken. Really well played as well, shutting down that site. And I think, you know, credit to Anselmo. Oh. Give them. Oh. Thing is though, nearby's still a little awkward. He got double MP9s come through where no problems reinvesting in towards this round, and maybe even towards the next round if things were to go south here.
A lot of youths still getting tossed into the B bomb site, and here comes the forces of TYLOO, to which the QUBE have no answer. 1, 2, 3, all of them dropping like flies, really. Anselmo is the last man standing, but for all the good that's going to do, wasn't quite spotted out there by that jump from Jamyong, I don't think. So he may be able to get in here and sneak away a frag or something like that, but really wishful thinking at this point. Kind of a wooden spoon prize. Oh, Mercury, has he seen him? I think he has. Oh, he's not.
Oh, no. Or I guess on the other side, does he care? Oh, no, he has a kit. No way. No way, boys. kit and a smoke and into the fuse, surely. Oh, he's going to get it.
My God.
He's going to get it. TYLOO, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Just unbelievable the rounds that TYLOO are finding ways to lose in this series tonight. Like the rounds that they lost on Mirage, you know, and then this, it's like these are just basic things, and TYLOO are I suppose the thing is, if you're gonna lose rounds like this, you're gonna have issues, and you know, it may have all these weird kind of games. Better have it now in the ESL Challenger League than later on down the track, you know, LAN fun or international qualifier or something like that. Because look, TYLOO's always going to be a team that will make it to the playoffs of this regardless. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about it in the regular season. Just got to get it out of your system, you know.
Yeah, I do think as well they've also just got to get these losses, like the round losses out of the system as a quote-unquote new team, right? This is, you know, a somewhat acceptable time to let these ones slide. Oh, I mean, I say they actually really could have saved his teammate there, but doesn't matter. Last man, M4. I think just saves here. You know, money is not great for the QUBE. Despite that previous round win, it's not in a good spot.
Yeah. Could get worse if TYLOO go on the hunt here for solos. Jamyang's having a bit of a look. He's got a little bit of time to keep working his way toward A, but just the way it looks right now, you'd probably be guessing solos will survive. Unless he oversteps out into water. But we'll be okay. In the end, though, I don't know how much that's really going to help the QUBE. Holding on to this one, M4. It's going to have to be a damn good hero, M4, and solos is 1 and 7, so can't really be expecting too much.
Yeah, he's struggling. He's not looking good. TYLOO, at the very least, still feel very much in a controlling position at the moment. Have to see, though. TYLOO do make things harder than they need to be at times, and it also feels like kind of a prime example of it. Great. He's a little peeking towards mid. I think he's going to be under quite a bit of pressure. He's going to stick around for the fight. I don't rate the deagle up close, though. The CZ probably would have done a bit better. You'd expect. Juju gets clipped from back camera.
Yeah, M4 hasn't come into play just yet, but the 5-7 does. And now it maybe starts to get interesting. M4 spotted over towards the A side of the map, though. He's going to, you'd imagine, incentivize TYLOO to go B, and man, another kill for the 5-7. TYLOO are potentially going to find another round to lose out of nowhere. Down to G and Jamyang this time, and G's got the bomb plant. Got himself a kill on the way out. Both of the players spotted at B main. There's a nade and a flash. It's not necessarily going to help to lock things off, but bit of chip damage maybe off the nade. A nice flash in there from solos, and could set Anselmo up for success. They're going to have to work quickly. They do have a defuse kit. Nade is not going to be used in the end. Oh, here we go. Flash and a counter flash out. The timing on the flash actually just to set the defuse up, and luckily G's got that one on lockdown. Murphy, or was it Jamyang with the molly? I don't know if that actually reached the bomb, let alone even if it had, would it have stopped the defuse in time? So, still seeing some weird moments here, but a round win's a round win.
Yeah, this is, man, the fact that we're like really having to like hold our breath for some of these, it's crazy. But I mean, TYLOO's still winning, which is great. But yeah, the fact that we do have to hold our breath and kind of hope that they see off the easy rounds is still a little wild. But wins are wins, and I guess that's all that matters. Going aggro out here towards B main. Not effective. Simple for Jamyang. Starry though will get caught by Ray, who just pushes mid. Simple for Mosea, and that'll crack open the A site.
Love it. Not much to really comment on, given that it is just pistols for the QUBE here. But nice to see TYLOO getting it done what you would think would be comfortably. Obviously, round's not yet over, but pretty good.
Easy. 7-3. Already a good half. Being put up here by this TYLOO side. I mean, even now, 7. Pretty standard stuff. And I do, again, now look towards the QUBE, who are running out of chances at the moment. Time is seriously dwindling for them. They've got 2 more rounds of this. I would want to see them get both. I don't know. It feels quite unlikely, though. They haven't really scratched the surface of TYLOO so far in this game.
Yeah. Could be a comfort level on Anubis type thing. But to be fair, like, I don't think you can really get into that discussion in Challenger League. Because of the format of the veto, you really shouldn't ever be getting onto a map that you're uncomfortable with. Unless for some specific reason you're wanting to crack it or try, you know, sort of try and train on it in officials. So to go, oh yeah, QUBE might not be too comfortable here on Anubis. Well, that's cap, because if they're not, why is it being played? They should have banned it, you know. And you really only have to have a like 2 map pool, more or less.
Ooh.
So no excuses. TYLOO just looking far and away the better team right now on QUBE. Solos could have been in for a cheeky one, but his first couple of shots on the Jamyoung were not clean, and so that cost him his life. Bomb plant's gone down. Anselmo tasked with a clutch, which feels a little impossible at this point.
Oh yeah, it's not happening, is it? Again, a conversation we made about saving. I mean, obviously there's been damage dealt and all the rest, but I feel like sticking around here feels like they're going to have not a lot to work with. I mean, sure, but this QUBE side have a bit of loss bonus to work with, or quite a chunk of loss bonus, but yeah, no, it's a spot. They will come through, and that will be. I mean, this time Jamyoung's sticking around, and he'll go down with the ship as well, just in case anybody was trying anything in particular. But yeah, 8 for TYLOO, really good stuff for them. And now already getting to a really, really solid spot. I mean, at the moment, I don't know about you, but I don't really see a world in which, at this current rate, kind of TYLOO lose out this match. It just looks very clean.
Yeah, money was good enough there as well for TYLOO to just let that gun go down. Don't care about it. Yeah, this could be a 9-3 half the way things are going. Probably should have been better from TYLOO, honestly, but can't really be complaining about a 9-3 one way or the other. There's the smoke in from Jamyoung for B main. Block on that one from Paranormal. And Starry's going to work quickly up through middle. Again, he has been sent as the point man to try and make an impact. Rate should get traded here every day of the week, but the shots are a little bit astray. Somehow maybe the QUBE are going to be able to swindle themselves a late half round. Sell mode for 1. Quite don't be enough to really trouble the scorers just yet. Mosey in for another, and actually the site is being broken open. TYLOO with their individuals are making it interesting now.
G moving his way around. I say there's the first 180s. Knows exactly where the last is. This is good. He's going to deploy into the smoke. I like this. He's just hightailing it. It's a foot race and one of which you'll win. And on the way out, so also pick up a bit of util. Kit and Molly were picked up there. G now plants nice and open and has the room to work with. Doesn't have the util, but definitely a chance here. Solos, he has a lot of information to clear and really not a lot of time, generally speaking, as well. Every corner and crevice got to be checked, and G just has to wait for his opportunity, wait for a tap on towards that bomb. His plant is so open, he might even hear a step as well. Molly comes down, G waiting, peeking, and denying. 9-3 at the half. TYLOO look fantastic. Will they continue it after the break?
First half was not particularly successful for the Cube. 9-3 favoring TYLOO. Puts us in a position where if this pistol round goes the way of the CT side, we might be wrapping things up pretty damn quickly. And with the investment that TYLOO have put in here, they are not messing around. 3 sets of dualies ready to go. Looking to lock down this B side hold.
Got up close it. I think it might be a very standard hit. And they come. First fight is not good for Mercury or G. You're going to get caught. Jamyong. That 2 will keep them afloat, especially if Starry can hit just one of these. He's really struggling. Very labored and puts it all onto the shoulders of Mosaic. Best of luck at range of the Julies here. I don't know. I mean, he's got half armor, sure, but not easy. And he also does have a smoke too, so not the worst in the world.
Tap, tap, tap from Mosey. He's got one. Can he find any more? Gonna need to get that second. Here we go. Smoke's on. Surely. Gotta give it a crack. He's actually gonna smoke off B main. Decide not to smoke off the bomb. He's gonna tap it. He's gonna have to force the peek here from TYLOO, who decides better of it. He goes charging in through the smoke. Time is of the essence. There's no defuse kit, so there's no round for TYLOO. I wonder if Mosey would have been better off just smoking off the bomb and sitting the defuse. I think that was the only real chance of winning the round there. But either way, 9-4. Cube get their round.
It's true. It is true. I mean, you know, credit to QUBE. Pretty expensive in the sense, but I don't know what we're trying to do here for TYLOO. They do occasionally like to force, and it looks like we are going to go for one. I guess in this situation, I don't hate it too much as well, because, you know, we've seen how this TYLOO side have made use of these slightly weirder buys. They kind of get the rifles into the perfect positions, use the lower buys as cannon fodder a bit, and it works. But a lot of onus. Isaiah, Jamyong really got to make something work. Oh my! You know, for Mosaic there as well. Very fortunate they don't opt to fight him. Jamyong does fight, and he'll get traded.
What about Starry? Not able to conjure anything with the Deagle and just tucks back in cams. The pressure through from TYLOO is looking pretty good here. They're doing a pretty good job of just juggling the aggro. Mercury gets in behind Anselmo somehow. Paranormal is trying to salvage things, but not doing a great job of it. Only getting a 1-for-1, and it's on to TYLOO now, who does have an AK in hand, but I don't know that he's going to be able to get much done there. That's a nice headshot from G with the scout to seal the deal. Double digits for TYLOO, and look, the best way to start this half would have been a pistol round win for TYLOO. The second best is this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, arguably as well, yeah, especially with how CS2 is and, you know, less rounds and whatever, I think it's one of those where, for me, it feels like winning the force buy is more important than winning the pistol regardless. Yeah. I mean, it gives you just so much luxury. And it forces the Cube to go into a buy of their own. They don't get a choice if they have to because of double eco. And it's one of those where you lose this for the Cube, and we could have already be talking about game over here towards the second match. That would be TYLOO getting 11 and then 12 before their next buy. I mean, basically, if you lose this, you're playing for overtime.
Yeah, and the way they're going at the moment, they're on their way to losing it. Lost TYLOO early. Haven't really got much map control at all. Yeah, they've taken bridge, but that's about it. You do have a forward hold from Mosey on A long. Mercury uncontested for E-Box at this point. And TYLOO looking pretty comfortable. Kind of just chilling at the moment. No real need to do anything too fancy. You have that 5-on-4 lead as soon as Mosey... Oh, never mind. He didn't even cop a whiff of Paranormal. He just lost his head straight away. Hard to fault him for that one, really. Jamyong, at least, is going to be able to continue to lock down the B bomb site, which does relieve some of the pressure.
G will be forced away. They should know he's in towards 7. He doesn't want to fight too much. A lot of this contact he's relying Oh, on sorry, Jig also going to get caught as well. 2 versus 2, bomb down, gun to work with for Ray, and with Jamyoung low, not impossible.
Big util advantage for TYLOO on this retake, though. That Molly's going to just clear out Waterfall, and Mercury in behind. Paranormal's going to open one up. Now they just have to find Rate, who they've got a lot of time to work for. Jamyoung, be careful working around this corner. He's in fact actually going to drop himself the smoke. Now has been spotted out. Bomb is planted for Rate, but Jamyoung snaps him through the smoke, and defuse is all good. Jamyoung's got a defuse kit, and so that'll be 11 for TYLOO. It's a bit of a speed bump in that round, but it's all good. They've got suspension on the forward Angelica.
Oh, Cube with that bomb plant. Are we going to see a force buy back out? They're going to go kind of back-to-back force buys, or it's going to be a low buy here, play for overtime, full buy next. And looking by it seems to be that full investment. Big call. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like it is actually very much a pick your poison type scenario. Both ways are bad, right? It's either you force buy here and hope you can kind of change the tides, or you eco, but then you're playing for overtime at 12-4 down. Neither side is good.
100%. Made a pretty good call, though. Oh, someone's made a little splish splash. Made a pretty good call, though. I don't think anyone from TYLOO's aware at this point. And you know, 5 players set up to go A. You only have Mosey holding on, and he's not really overcommitted to the hold. And try and filter their way back in through cams, but the util from QUBE is going to prevent that. Now it's on to TYLOO to just try and find that 1 or 2 cheeky kills that they can through the smoke, and they've been able to do that. As the plant's going down, QUBE will lose a couple of players. Grab 1 back in the case of G falling, but the damage is mostly done here. That's a cheeky shot from Mosey. Somehow Starry killed Jamyoung. Not sure what's going on there. Lin Vision versus TYLOO. Maybe something still in the back pocket there, but Mosey's doing enough work to kind of keep this one safe.
Alice.
Something's of the essence, though. Too good. Oh. Doesn't quite get that kill onto Mosey. Had he done, it could have been interesting, but 12-4. 1 round away now for TYLOO.
Yeah, I mean, it is just one of those where TYLOO leave things very, very late. It was a little bit perplexing at one point, but in the end, hit themselves on match points. Go 2-0, I guess, in this one. The QUBE, they've got a buy of some sorts. Quad Galil, 1 Tech 9 for Paranormal. And yeah, a bit of a hope and a prayer. Is it going to work out for them? I don't know. I mean, they're a side who haven't offered up a hell of a lot. So this has been a map. Obviously, they haven't workshopped all too much. I mean, the Mirage didn't look terrible. This one has definitely had a lot of holes in it, a lot of weaknesses, where the QUBE probably needs to kind of head back to the drawing board.
Paranormal had his chance there with the Tech 9. It'll be followed up nicely by TYLOO, to be fair, but it is still only a 1-for-1, and that's just not enough, especially with Starry on this fast flank. No way TYLOO's going to be expecting this. Still, he'll win the duel. Gets a little bit too over-eager for the fight, though, into Canals, and so we'll lose this life. We're back to 3-on-3. There is a flank coming around from right into the back lines, and that's going to be problematic indeed. Solos has found himself a couple. It doesn't even come into the picture. And TYLOO just can't quite get it over the line yet. And in fact, kind of got themselves into a bit of a sticky situation here with the money. So this could be another 5-10 minutes before they actually get this one done.
Yeah, it's true. That's it. We'll get 1. Doubles back. Might get another. He's making it expensive. Whether he survives is the question. But it looks like he actually... Wait, hang on. No way.
Hang on, no way.
No way. He's got a smoke. No, he doesn't. He has a flash. Sorry, I read that wrong. But even still, tap on towards. He's got a kit, but he won't clear. E-box. We've made noise here, Raid. We've stepped. He'll swing, and he won't find it. What was that? For a moment there, I thought we were on for something.
This is just peak Asia ECL, isn't it? Like, you see that ninja defuse from QUBE in the first half, and wouldn't have been half surprised to see that round go the way of TYLOO there either. In the end, though, doesn't, and so TYLOO's going to have to take the save. All right. Well, TYLOO, 1 Eagle. Starry is all they've got.
Greatest in the world, Jamie. I'm going to get caught early. 50, mate. Nice. Simple as. Sorry, or 4. That deagle dropped. Very simple round. 10 swam away. And Paranormal eventually gets it. A flawless round. A quick one. No need to discuss.
Yeah, I love that. Get that one out of the way pretty quick, smart. No need to really be overthinking it if you're TYLOO. A lot of rounds to play with here. I mean, they only had 1900 loss bonus, so it actually doesn't buff the money up all that much. And again, if they don't get it done here, 2400, it's not going to be enough for a buy next time, so double eco. This could actually start to blow out a little bit. Money's in a pretty weird spot for TYLOO right now.
Front E-box smoke and it's working. Selmo, yeah, caught just a little bit by the flash, but enough that it sort of forced them to hesitate for half a second, and that half a second is always going to be more than enough for Mosaic to pounce.
Not the start that the Cube were looking for. TYLOO, however, is going to start to work his way into E-box. He'll be probably greeted by Starry with the XM. And the Alligator is snapping away nicely at the head. Catching TYLOO. Close on the angle. Will be able to drop that smoke down, put that pressure on. And Mercury's got a B250, a USP, excuse me, in hand. Not that it's going to matter hugely. It's 4-on-2 here. Paranormal's going to bring one back at least. Bombs dropped in the most awkward spot, though, for the Cube. They are forced to take this fight into B.
He couldn't get the kill, and now Mosaic's got it all to do. This is a tough little versus 2 for him. He's going to go aggro. He's going to go quick as well. Drops down, catches the one crossing. Oh, surely not. Molotov also down as well. Swings for the second. He goes through the flames, Paranormal. He'll plant safe. Mosaic away from opportunity, and he's going to win it out. Brilliant from Mosaic. Shouldn't really have been given the luxury of that first kill, but he is. And that'll be TYLOO taking the series, or taking the match in this best of 1. 13-6 and 2-0 across the 2 maps.
Yeah, wow. Well, it was a fun night. It was definitely a fun night. Still seeing those ups and downs, though, for TYLOO that we want to be seeing kind of like cleaned up for a team of this caliber. But
yeah,
again, I kind of look at it and think, well, it is ESL Challenger League. They are still a new team. It's the regular season. It's not a particularly threatening opponent, and so I'm willing to kind of give them a pass mark in the sense that I don't think this is like a hugely important game for TYLOO in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know how long do you give them, right? Like, how long's a piece of string? I think the thing is, like, the fact that they haven't qualified for the major or obviously the RMR kind of gives them like a long road. It's like, well, at this point now, the next like barometer really is going to be the next major to start off 2025, which that's a long way away. So, you know, you probably got like 6 months lead time here with this TYLOO roster to kind of get things together. So you can't afford to take it slow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to think. I'm looking through as well for these guys' rosters. Looking through the roster and kind of tournaments that are potentially upcoming. Bar the kind of the Extremes Land one, I can't really think what else they would be potentially in contention for sort of playing here for the rest of this year. They might be able to get invited to something, but off the top of my head, I can't really think. So, yeah, tough spot I think that they are in, right? And I think they really do need to try and settle things before we go into next year, because if this doesn't work out at the end of this year, you know, the events are starting to dry up a little bit towards the tail end now. I mean, we've got to look into 2025 and then to be uber competitive. We've got all this time to work. We have our player to watch as well off the back of that. Of course, we did pick Jamyong, as you mentioned, and another pretty solid performance coming out from him. 15-9, 1.67 KD, and yeah, absolutely flying when it comes towards the ADR as well. So a brilliant performance from him. I mean, maybe not as much as he was in towards the first map. I think it was like 107, but you take a 65 when you're not the main man. I mean, that map for me felt it was basically all Starry and Mosaic, to be fair, at the end.
Yeah, and that's honestly the way I'd probably prefer it to be if I'm TYLOO. Like, I don't actually want Jamyong to have to be the sort of the top fragger. Like, I like the fact that, or in an ideal world, I would say, yeah, it's like probably Starry, Mercury, as your 1 and 2, and maybe Jamyong and Mosey having that like odd sort of performance there. Obviously, G obviously being the AWPer, you know, a different conversation there to be had. But at least as far as the riflers are concerned, I wouldn't necessarily want all that onus to be on Jam Young. So yeah, I think it's kind of good there that we get that one on Anubis. It looked like a much cleaner game from TYLOO on map 2 than it was on map 1. To be fair though, still a lot to kind of be picked up on. But I don't know. I'm still, yeah, that like viewing experience hasn't really changed my opinion of TYLOO, which I kind of had hoped that coming out of tonight, I would have been saying, oh yeah, I think they're looking a lot cleaner. I think they're looking a lot better, but not quite sure that we're at that point just yet. So we'll have to, you know, leave it until next week maybe and catch up with them again and see how they go. And once we get into the playoffs, we'll see where they're at. But either way, that's the end of the day now. It's been a pleasure, I'm sure. And, you know, you've got some stuff to go and get to. It's a lovely morning in... or maybe afternoon now over there in England. So, yeah, crack on with it. And I'm going to go to bed. So, hopefully for you guys at home as well, you're having a great time. And we'll have to bid you good night as well. So, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again next week.